Welcome everyone to Pentacolor Live for today. Let me just find myself in assorted places. It's always takes a little bit of time to get this lot sorted through. I can pop that on in there. Hi Jamie, welcome my darling. Thank you very much. Let me just share this. There we are. Pentacolor will do most of it for me. You can see that we've got I'm a little bit early, and that is just cool. If whoever is joining us could, oh dear, I don't know what happened then, could just let me know whether they can hear and see me without any problems. That would be surely appreciated. I can see me on Facebook. That's always a starting point, but I have my sound on my phone turned right down or to non-existence so that we don't get a horrible jarring echo. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Sue. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. There we are. So we're just going to wait for that clock to tick round a little bit and see who else may or may not join us this evening. We've got a little bit of a plan. Well, we've got quite a lot of a plan really to sort it out. There we are. So this is a live in English because I really don't speak any other languages, well, not such that you'd know. And so I'm doing probably, I think, the last of the lives with the new fabric mediums this evening, and that because Timmy did a non-fabric paint activity yesterday, and the lovely Blanche Agria, who is from Mexico, will be doing a non-fabric live when she goes live this week, and then after that it'll be back to normal services from me with lots of different products and more mixed media type things. But for today I thought I would just have a little bit of a play, and we're going to be using the fabric to make a journal, because I think that's quite a cool thing to be able to do, and it shows that you don't need to just use your fabric paints and mediums for household textiles or clothes, as it has other uses as well. So a few people bobbed out, and we've got a few more coming online as we approach 6 o'clock. So hopefully we're nearly there. I haven't seen any more comments, but I'm assuming we're nearly 6 o'clock. So I have some assorted collections. I have some gauze that we're going to colour. I have some lace. I've got some seam binding. I've got some fabric flowers. And I have some material that I've cut to size for the journal that I'm going to be making, if that makes sense. So that's the plan, and let's start by adding some colours to these things so that we've got everything coordinated. And the joy, of course, of doing this is that it means I can mix my product colours and have everything fully coordinated, rather than having to rely on pre-bought materials and hoping that they're then going to match with the products. So this is some of the new fabric paint. It is, most of the colours are really, really bright, vibrant, but this is petrol blue, and it is a good mix for the Secret Diary collection from Stamperia. So that's what we're going to be using this evening. You'd think I might have planned it. I don't want everything to be all that blue, so we're going to add a little bit of white as well into there, and then we're going to just do a little bit of dipping it and dunking, and we might do a bit more things. So I'm just going to water these paints down. They're really, really, really thick, and I don't need them at this stage for dunking these fabrics in to be really, really, really thick. So you can see I'm adding lots of water. They're very highly pigmented, and that's just fine. and I want them to spread. There we are. So I've now got a nice fluid mix there, as opposed to the solid blobs of paint that I had. Good evening, Miss Edie. Welcome, welcome, my darling. I trust that wherever you are in the US, you are safe and not subject to too much of the storms that are going around. So we'll have some little, we're going to have some colour variation. Let's just pop that over there, and we can mix this up, and we can have a whole mixture of different colours. And of course we can leave some areas completely white. So let's just dunk that into there, and we might need to mix up some more, and that is equally fine. And we might add some splatters at some point, because we can. So did I think this through logically? Have I got something to put this on the floor? That would be a big no. Just let me pop something that's not going to come to harm if it gets covered in paint while it's drying onto the floor. So this is just, as I said earlier, a little bit of gauze. Now it will get a little bit tougher once it has been painted. Hello Joe, welcome my darling. So I'm just going to chop this up a little bit, and we're going to make it a bit more raggedy, because I won't need it all in a perfect piece. So we'll just pull it apart a little bit. So all I'm doing is literally just shredding the edges, pulling, and then I can shred it a bit more when I want to. Hello Sheila, welcome my darling. So as I say, we're mixing up. We're doing a bit of fabric crafting, a bit of paper crafting, a bit of journaling, just because I thought it would be nice to have a bit of variation. So literally all I'm doing now is shredding this up. So I've got some texture. Oops, she says, hitting the mic. I do apologise. There we are. And then we can have this, and then I can do a bit more shredding afterwards. But we'll get it's not easy. Yeah, it's quite nice. So I'm just building in colour variation as we go. Please feel free to share this around. I know it was a special weekend out in the States, and there's quite a few lives going on over there today. It's always nice to have lots of people watching, but of course it's not an essential, because life can get in the way. So there we are. So let's just have a little bit of a mix up into here. That still looks like it's going to, so let's just give that a little bit of a damp, and this is going to just allow me to have some colour variation on my piece, and that can continue to wick. So let's just pop that onto the floor, and it's going to be a mucky live tonight, but hey ho, but that's fine. And I'm going to need some more of that white into there for the mixture of what they were wanting. So let's just add that in. There we are. Let's just pick up the whiter of those. It doesn't matter if it's completely mixed in, but there we are. So I'm colour coordinating my embellishments that I think I'm going to use for my pieces. So this is just a large roll piece of seam binding, American seam binding, but any white ribbon will do. You're not going to have to heat set this, because it's not going to be a washable product. So if I just give that a little bit of a good dunk, pick up that excess that's there, and then I can pick up some of this, just mix it around a little bit, and there we are, and just let that wick. So I've got some, lots of colour variation in there. Let's just sugar that onto the floor. It's onto a towel. I'm not literally dunking it onto my floor, ladies, I have to say. Oops, I've got a knot there. I don't want a knot, because that'll be really difficult once it's dry. So let me undo that, and then that can be spread out. And at some point I will end up having to get a dryer out, I'm sure. There we are. You see, why did I pick such a big piece? Because Oh, because I'm wanting to wrap it multiple times, so that's why. There we are. Cat's cradle. Why is it that straight pieces of things always end up in knots? You know, even though you started out with them as an entirely straight piece. So lots of colour variation there. I think we might have that. We'll add that. So we're going to get this. We'll give that a bit more of a spray. Wetting your fabric will help it absorb in. I've no idea. This is vintage lace, so I've no idea what material it's made from, but it's of cottony type, so that's going to add. And I'm not going to worry about having it completely coloured, because as I say, I'm wanting colour variation. And then I can have these all of these pieces to match, because they're all going to be tonally in the same palette, aren't they? Because I've custom made them all for myself. So there we are. Let's just take this. So it's just a little fabric flower. I'm going to whop that down. Hopefully. There we are. I'll pop these into here. Give that little bit of a blitz. There we are. Mix these up. Okay. So you could do these with any fabric flower, and it all can hopefully continue to wick through. I'm just, yeah, if I want it a bit darker, I can add a bit more of the dark. If I want it a bit paler, add some more of that. There we are. We're just, and I'm trying not to waste too very much of my products. There we are. So hopefully, there we are. And look at the mucky fingers. But we haven't then got too much. That's hello. So Pretty Gets Gritty. Is that Lynette or is that Taz, my darling? Either of you are, of course, most welcome. There's never any problem with that. We're doing something very different. Today we've not got a die cut. Well, we've not got any die cuts in shape because Pentacolor don't sell dies. But there we are. But the mediums are lovely. There we are. Now let's just get rid of the blue from there. And then those can sit there. That can sit there. And now let's just give that a mop so that we don't have that sitting in a mucky mess. And there we are. So that's the plan from here. So this is, as I say, some cotton fabric that I have cut to the correct size. And let me just put an iron on, because we will be needing to iron. I know that's a very rude word to say, but we will be needing to iron. So let's just pop that there to warm up nicely. And then we're going to have a little bit of stencil fun and a bit of stamping. So I have just a soft mat. It's got a texture. It's going to make it easier for stamping, and it's also going to make it stop the fabric moving around so very much for me. Hi Laurie, welcome, welcome, welcome. So when you're doing this, you need to think about how this is going to be orientated. Thanks B, to when it's in its finished piece. So it's going to be wrapped around like that. So that's going to be the front, and that's going to be the back, and we're going to have some waste around the edges, and that is just cool. So let's just pop that there, and we're going to take out just a little bit of this blue paint. As I say, it's the perfect colour for the Secret Diary collection. So let's just pop a little bit of that into there. Okay, there we are. And let's remove the excess off my fingers. Thank you for letting me know, B. Much appreciated. So cotton use foam, anything that you want. A little bit of paint. And some not so precise stenciling. So let's just pop that onto there. Don't need the whole areas covered. tapping it through, and I'm going to get natural variation, and that's fine. And I sort of have a plan as to where I'm going anyway. You can see where I've got different areas where I've not got as much paint, it's paler. Where I've got little bits, it's a bit more, and that's just fine. That's sort of approximately going to be in the middle of where we're going. So there we are. You can see that, you know, I'm really not using very much paint when I'm doing this. And we're going to just do a little bit of overlaying in much the same way as if you were making yourself a mood board with paper, really, or a colour palette. But this, instead of doing it on cardstock or paper, I'm just doing it on a piece of fabric that we're going to use for handmade. And of course, the joy of this is that I can do as much or as little as I want. I can add as much as little as I want, and I can customize my fabric. So if I don't want a very heavily patterned fabric, but I do want added interest, then this is going to allow me to do that. So let's just add just a little bit there, little bit into there, much softer. There we are. You can see that I'm just getting variation because I've got very little paint now on my brush, on my sponge. There we are. But we are then getting lots of interest onto our fabric. Hello Sophie, welcome, welcome. So let me just pop that there and give that a clean, because I will be using that later on for something else. So there we are. And I need to have that dry for something else. So there we are. Pop that over there. Pop that out of the way. And then we can take this back. And I want a little bit more interest still on here. So I have stencil I used the other day, and I am going black. No, I'm not. I'm going to go grey. I think the grey is going to be softer than black. But I could have gone with a brown, because that will work equally. So let's just pop that there, and then we're going to add some splodges and some words. So let's get this round the right way. There we are. Fresh piece of cut and use. Just tap this off. Might have had a bit too much on there when I did that, and that's fine. So it's going to be very subtle, and that is just fine. I don't necessarily want everything to be all in my face. I can see that it's adding. I think you might be struggling. But yeah, let's just pop that over there. Maybe on the paler areas it'll become more obvious. There we are. I'll lift it up. I think might be the answer to this. So let's just tap this through. There we are. That's better. So as I say, I will lift this up in a minute, and I think that will then make life easier for people to see what I've done. There we are. So let's just pop that there and add a bit more. And you can add as much or as little then as you want. So if I lift this up, I've now got a mixture of shades of my blue, and I've got my grey text sitting in there. So I think that that works quite nicely. And that now needs a little bit of a clean. I do apologise. We're going to have one of those days. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A little bit, yeah, blue broken china, but just very soft, very gentle, very easy on the eye was my whole thought process for that. And welcome, Diane. I hadn't seen you come in earlier. So let's just wipe that down. You see, and I am now using environmentally friendly wipes B, so I feel much less guilty about using these. So, right, wet cloth moving around, all that's happening is it's moving about. So, okie dokie. There we are. Let's pick up. So I now have a stamp. So these are ordinary acrylic stamps from Stamperia. So we've got lots of them in that set. And I'm going to pop this on a block. And this is why I pop this onto here. We are just going, in fact, I'm not going to. I am going to use some archival ink. So Stays On Woodwork. This is a brown ink, because there's quite a lot of brown in the paper collection. So I can now add some more imagery, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, however many you want. It's entirely up to you. Into here, and I'm deliberately using the archival ink because it's heat set. This is a permanent ink pad, so it's not going to cause me lots of havoc, and will not move if I get any water on here. Not that I'm actually intending adding lots more water at this stage. So let's just pop that over there, that into there, and that over there. So I've gone on, off and over and just added lots of detail. And these are all pieces that I'm intending to use on the inside of my on my signatures for inside of the book. So let me just pick up a small plate. So there are lots of butterflies, and I'm just now going to take some of this blue paint. You can see I haven't got such an even coverage, and I can just add little bits of this into here. Doesn't have to be uber precise. I think actually it's looking nicer with less paint on the page, and I can deal with that. That's not a problem. So just add some paint onto there. So all I have done now is really built up a little bit of a collage using all of these pieces. And we've got a bare area there. So let's just use that up. There we are. Why not? Let's just take another piece off there. So important when you're working with paints and stamps, just really do give them a good clean, because the paint, once it's dry, will clog all of the gaps up and you'll use the details of your stamp. But yeah, ordinary stamps, I know I've been using fancy stamp blocks a lot recently, but I just wanted to show that you didn't need to have the fancy block prints to for working with these. So we've now got all of our fabric all needing a jolly good dry. So let me just grab a heat tool. Yeah, it's just a nice way, and I'm going to pop my fabric scissors way out of the way. Just because we've got all of these to dry. Some of it, to be fair, yeah, I did add quite a lot of water to some of those. Those have got plastic bits in them, so I don't really want to melt the plastic. But if I do, hey ho, that's less of a problem. Let's just give this a little bit of a dry. Good evening, Terry. Welcome, my darling. It must be quite early for you in the States. We're making a journal today with a hand-stamped, hand-printed, hand-stenciled cover, and then coordinating embellishment. So that's reasonably dry. So let's just pick up this other pile of stuff that I've equally hand-dyed and get some of this cut dry before we start assembling stuff. So there is no way of not doing that. Hello, Alison. Welcome, my darling. I trust you are well. And as I said right at the beginning, one of the joys of doing things like this is that I've got all of my pieces now all made with the same base paint. Some softer, some darker, but they're all from the right colour palette, because that's the colour palette I've chosen to work with, and I've been able to custom colour everything to work with, you know, with my project, and that makes life much easier for when you're working. And I could go back in, I can add some more colours, I could add some whites, but I've got lots of variation here between all of these pieces. And we're just going to, as I say, we just now need to get some of these a bit drier than they are. Look at my hands, honestly. But I am picking up wet fabric and things, so I guess it's my own fault. I should know that I was going to end up with stuff that was wet, shouldn't I? And mucky mitts. And it's the only way forward. So they're still damp. And I'll pop those on the floor, and then we're going to move to, well, they're actually going on a towel on the floor, so that will help to carry on absorbing some of that. And we'll clean our hands, get rid of some of this excess gubbins from here, and use that perishing thing called an iron. You know, shouldn't be allowed, should it? Mind you, the only place it is allowed in my house is the craft room. So I don't really want to iron straight onto my glass mat, and so I'm just going to turn that fabric over, pop that onto there. It's touch dry. If you're using it as something that you want to be properly waterproof, just remember, washable, then please dry naturally for 24 hours and then heat set for 2 minutes per area. Now clearly that might take an awful long time with this, and actually I'm not going to ever wash this journal, and I know from getting the paint down my clothes that actually it will cope without being particularly heat set reasonably. I just want a flat crease-free surface, to be fair, for covering my book with. Hello Blanche, welcome my darling, welcome. There we are. So and let's just move that over a little bit. Oh, I do apologise if that's made anyone go really looky sick. So I can do that bit, and then this means I've got a nice flat piece of fabric for covering my journal with, or my little book, or whatever you want to call it, because I think journal, is a catch-all term for a book that you write in or put things into, not necessarily photographs. So I'm going to just turn that off so I don't leave it on and burn myself, because that's not a good plan. Okay, so that is the front. So because these are sided. So let's get this round the correct way. So I have some pieces of grey board. That is 6 inches. That's 6 inches by 6 inches. That is 6 inches this way, 1.5 inches that way, and this is 6 inches that way. And I have some little spine protector pieces, so I can pop that into there, pop that there, pop that into there. Once I've got this bit glued down, then I can add the next one. So we might do it this way. There we are. So we can do that like that, and then we're all evenly spaced. So I'm just going to take some of my express glue, and I've got a nice enough border all the way around, so that works for me. So let's just pop a little bit of this just around the edges. I don't mind if it's baggy in the middle because it's fabric. You could add some wadding if that's what you wanted to do, but the spine safe, these spine safe pieces are really, really very helpful at keeping everything nicely aligned with each other and creating me a little bit of a hinge. So there we are. Just make sure that those are all nicely butted up to each other. Let's pop that one into there. There we are. And pop this round. And I have a feeling that the heavens might be about to open here. It's just gone very dark. Okay. So let's just lift those up out of the way, and then we're going to make my life a little bit easier at this point. It's just going to help with the sticking, and I'm all for making life easy. So I'm just going to run a little bit of red liner tape down there, and then hope that I can pick the back off comfortably. I am going to add some glue onto here, but it's just going to make it easier for on the live, because then I don't need to fret and hold it in place for quite so long. Hello Isabel, welcome my darling, welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're going to need to do a little bit of mitering, and that's okay. There we are. And perhaps I should have done a little bit of the mitering first to make my life easy. And I'm going to swap to my fabric scissors for that mitering part of it. So let's just, that might be a bit more, a bit less than I need. So let's just pop this around. I can always deal with wonky corners. So let's just do that. Some of that is going to come off anyway. That's definitely too wide a piece gap on that edge. So let's just chop a little bit more. You need to be about the depth of the grey board away from the corner. So it's never easy, is it, when you want to do something quickly? There we are. But I have, as I say, got a nice set of decent fabric scissors in my hands. So, okay. So just the same as if I was actually using a piece of paper for doing this. The only difference is this is now 6, 12, 13 and a half, approximately 14 inches. And obviously I've got the overhang as well. So if I was doing this with just with cardstock, I'd have to get an A3 cardstock piece. There we are. Let's just take that over there. Let's just get that out of the way, and we'll take all of these off. It's going to be easier Now we can add some bits of glue as well, because clearly that's not going to cover the whole of that area. So there we are. Let's just add some extra glue along here and just along the top of that grey board, she says, and that's the applicator for her glue going in the bin. There we are. Well, we always like it when a plan goes together. Not. There we are. And as I say, I'm running it up along the edge of the grey board so that those corners set. I'm not using masses of the glue. There we are. Let's just do that last bit, because I'm hoping that with the tape it's going to help set it in place. So let me just roll that over, catch it down. There we are. Roll it over, catch it down, and the tape is obviously allowing me now to, to get that sealed down relatively easily. And then we'll turn it round and we can repeat the process. So roll it down, push it over, roll and push, roll and push. So I'm pulling it onto the board before I stick it down. There we are. Yucky, mucky, icky, sticky, wash hands, because that's going to drive me mad. There we go. You don't need to shut up now, Sophie. I think sometimes people just are lost in what we're doing rather than anything else. There we are. So let's just cover that, because otherwise we're going to have fabric paint every which way, aren't we? And then we can just tuck that corner in down there, tuck that corner in, lift that over, and we'll have a nice neat corner. We can always add a little bit of glue into there. I've got a little bit too much fabric here. I can see that I've got a bit too much fabric. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a haircut. There we are. And then just push those bits in and out of the way, and I can give it a haircut and just add a little bit of the PVA glue onto there. There we are, to keep it controlled. And knock that in, lift that forward, Hey! And we've still got too much here. So let's just take that off into there. There we are. So we now have our covers done, and we've got revolting and sticky hands. There we are. Hello Liz, welcome. You'll be proud of me. I'm making a book. Hey, I can do them, honestly I can. And we've hand printed, hand painted, hand stenciled, stamped, and generally had a good time mixing and matching. So 1, 2, 3. So I have cut some pieces of paper, she says. Did I cut them the right size? That will be a big fat no, wouldn't it? But that's okay. So we'll be getting that out. But that size is. So I'm guessing that this was an offcut from when I made a page for inside. Let's just put that, and I'll tell you how big these pieces are. So this piece is 3.5 inches, so about 9 centimeters for those that you prefer centimeters, by 5 3/4 or 14.6 centimeters. So let me just take this to 5 3/4. And 5 3/4. There we are. Cool. There we are. And I could add some tape down here, or I could add some tie. But let me just grab some fabric tape just to support that, because otherwise it is going to be a little bit more vulnerable long term. Although, to be fair, the fabric on the outside will help. So this is just a piece of fabric, sticky fabric tape, that I can just use to reinforce these areas just a little bit. But having the fabric on the outside should mean that actually it shouldn't be a problem. And I always forget that this is a nightmare for unpicking the edge of it. You could use Tyvek just as easily for this. You wouldn't necessarily have to do that. So it's just, again, it's a bit of reinforcement for that area of that frame. But as I say, oops, not my fabric scissors, because that wouldn't be a good plan. Not to be a good plan at all. So we're just going to help reinforce this area. Right, fingers obviously better. There we are. We will get there. But any white fabric tape would do, or even just an extra piece of the cotton would work across there quite happily. I think you don't necessarily need to have the whole lot. So I've now got an extra piece. Let's just fold that so I know where I'm going. And I've got a piece of paper from my collection that's going to go into there. And as is my wont, I'm just mainly going to stick it with glue. But I do want a little bit of extra tape. It's not quite up that far on the centre pieces. Again, it just helps when you're popping these in. Fabric scissors out the way. There we are. Pop that there. Pop that there. So this is just going to hold. So I'm going to pop these either side of the spine. There we are. We've got no complicated methods of holding anything in today. It's all going to be very simple methods of holding our pages and things in. We've got 3 signatures, and I have, because I'm a well-behaved young lady, already made 2 of them up. There we are. And then we're just going to do a little bit of decorating of the 3rd one, so you can see my thought process, mad as it might be. Hello Teresa, welcome my darling, welcome. And because I've got a predominantly white based paper collection, I am not worrying about inking any of my edges, because I've got enough white for it not to matter. So let me pop that. That's 7. That's approximately in the middle. Let's just lift you up a little bit. This will border top and bottom. Pop that into there. Pop that onto there. It's a bit wonky. It is a bit wonky. I'm going to leave it a bit wonky, because by the time I take that off, we'll make a mess. And then we've got, so we could do this, or we could do this. And I'm going to go for the neutral for a whole host of reasons. Partly because that's what I'm thinking I'd prefer. There we are. So let's just edge that over there. Let's see if we can get this one vaguely straight. Most of that's going to get covered anyway, so a bit of on the wonk won't matter. That's over there, that's over there. Let's just leave that to settle down. In an ideal world, you then need to leave your any areas that have got glue on to dry completely before you try flexing and moving anything. Have we got time to do that? Of course we haven't got time to do that on a live. Why would we make life easy for ourselves? Yeah, there we are. There we are. I'm just going to pop a little bit extra glue there. And I could be using the Pentart's fabric glue for this, but I'm actually just using express glue because that works just as well. Okay, so let's just give that a goodly push down all around. Let it adhere. Let the glue absorb into everything, and we'll pop that to the back. To the floor even might be good move. Right, excellent. So I have 3 signatures here, 2 of which I have already added together. Lots of bits. That's the first one. So you can see I've got stenciling, I've got rub-ons, I've got pieces of paper elements. That was meant to be in there, so we'll stick that back into there. Lots of pieces. So there we are. So we can pop that there. And we'll tell you how we did them, because that makes life easy. It's a really, really, really nice collection. So this is Secret Diary. And I've used approximately half of a 12 by 12 paper pad and most of an 8 by 8 paper pad. So this is, let me just measure it for you. She says, I think, so this is 11.5 inches. So chopped a little piece off the paper. So 5.5, 5 3/4 and 5 3/4. So it's 5 3/4 by 11, and it's scored at 5 3/4. So that gives me the outside for one of my signatures. I have a piece of card that is the same. I have a small envelope, which is a 5-inch square envelope to pop in. Another piece. So now this one is an 8 by 8 inch piece of paper, and I've scored it at 5 3/4 and 5 3/4, and then just folded these in. And this is going to give me a pocket, and I could have it like that with the text upside down in the pocket, or like that and cover it up. The choice is yours. So for the pockets, I obviously don't want them flapping about. So let's tackle those now. I'm literally just going to run 3 little strips of glue and give those a little push down. Thank you, Elizabeth. There we are. The challenge is going to be photographing them, isn't it? Hey ho. Then we've got another piece of card, and then we've got another one of the 8 by 8s. So it's just so I'm going to have minimal paper wastage. I've got enough of my 12 by 12 to make another small album. Watch the space, because one will appear. And there we are. Let's take that off the wet and pop that over there. Okay. So let's go on with the next step. So that is the outside piece, and now I have 2 cards to go in and this piece. So let's just pop those like that. There we are. So the advantage of this is it gives me lots of variations and lots of possibilities. Flips and flaps are good, and I don't have any gussets. Let me put that paint out of harm's way, because I don't need the paint anymore. And let me grab the next bits that I do need. So I have got the coffee ink pad from Samperia. and the blue navy ink pad from Stamperia. Right, we're going to end up in a pickle. I can see it happening. I've got stamps, stencils, second set of stamps, and ribbons. There we are. So we have everything lurking that we need. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a really, really good score down. And we might not do all of the stenciling because we might get a bit fed up and we might run out of a bit of time, and actually it's not the focus. But if we do some of it, then you'll get the message, that you'll get the idea. So I'm just going to add some bits of stenciling onto these. Now these pages aren't going to be opposite each other, so it doesn't matter if I go across there and down there. And then we're going to turn that over, and we're going to do an area up there, and we'll link that one in. So very much the same sort of process as I did for the, for the cover, really. And this is what I meant by the joy of being able to do things for yourself. It means that you customize your pieces so that you've got everything that coordinates and everything looks like it's meant to go together, if that makes sense. And as I say, you really don't need very much ink. Now, I wouldn't use these dye-based inks on the cover because I'm not sure how waterproof they are, if that makes sense. But you could, if you wanted to risk it, you could. So let's just pop that one out of the way, and then let's just pick this up. So we can do the same process. I think we can just add, so I'm going to now add in some brown because I know where I'm going. I can do this very, very simply. I can add in, I don't need to add masses of information. I can add pieces all over the place, or not, as the case may be. I'm semi-linking it to the stenciling. But I'm just wanting to add some extra details into here. So let's just pop this, as I say, these two, because I'm working on 2 pages simultaneously here. They're not going to be next to each other, so it actually doesn't matter from here. There we are. So relatively quick to put together by doing it this way, I think. And I could use one of the other stencils. Yeah, you could pick up any stencil you wanted. I quite like text when I'm doing something like this. Let's just pop that onto there. But, you do you. And add what makes you happy, really. Let's just add a different set of words over there. There we are. And let's flip that over. And just I am trying to get the words so that they're vaguely straight, because it will irritate me if they're not. But again, it's not so critical from here. There we are. So let's just pop that over there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some stamping. And I'm going to come back to those stamps that I had earlier on. This one I don't particularly want to have the whole piece. So that's just going to allow me to add little bits of this, and I can add areas as I want into my piece. For the inside, I think I'll use a different one. And there's a nice big word stamp here, so let me just add some extra bits of bits of interest onto here. And whilst we've got the backgrounds out, we'll carry on. You can see what I mean by you then end up with, you know, all of your pieces, all of your pages, everything coordinating. There we are. Just using a different part of that. There we are. Don't want whole areas of it, and that's also cool. Right, and then we might need a little bit more of think for the next bit. Let me just wipe my mitts again because they're getting messy. And let's just pop these back where they belong so I don't go losing any of these sets of stamps, because I've already got ink onto that one, which was not quite the plan, but hey ho. So we've got some extra detail here. Let me just give that a little push down, and I'll pop that back on there. But that's okay. We can sort all of this lot out over there. So, and I do now want a little stamp block. There we are. Let me just pop that so it's reasonably straight on there. So all I'm doing is mixing and matching. And adding the details. And let's just do the same on this one, and then we'll swap to a different one. There we are. Because we do have butterflies and things that we can add. And let's just take this one. Let's just open that up. And you can see that I'm really not minded about not stamping across the whole piece, because it doesn't need to be stamped across the whole piece. And I'm linking these into my pieces. And I've got a bare area down there. So I'm just going to add just those little bits of detail. They're breaking up those pages, but they're still leaving plenty of room for people to write on as they need to. And let's just cover those inks up before we end up with a pickle, because that's what will happen if we're not very careful. So let's start to pop some of this together. So I've got bits of rub-ons here. Let's just pull these out, and I've got another set as well. So we'll pop that over there. And we'll pop this piece over here. Now the ones on here are that bit bigger, but that's also fine. It doesn't really matter. So the joy of the rub-ons is that they will cover over everything. Because they're beautifully opaque. So I can now take this and pop that onto there. Have I got it entirely smooth? That'll be no. Does it really matter? That'll be no. There we are. So that's going to go there. And I'm going to leave that area, I think. Maybe not. I might add. I think actually we might just add another little bit because we can. So you can add as much or as little or not as you want to at this stage. So I'm going to pop that half on, half off because I don't necessarily want the whole thing. So I'm just building up some details. So that's inside of there. We might now think we might have just something a little bit more floral. So here. There we are. Hi Caroline. Welcome, welcome. So this is the joy of the rub-ons, is that they just will go over everything and anything. And because they come from the same collection, it allows you to do what you want. There we are. Let's just sound that on that word. And these aren't bulky, which, you know, so if you're adding embellishments, you don't necessarily want to have things that are hugely bulky for your pieces. There we are. And we can pop that pip. Yeah, we're going to pop it there because that's just where I like the idea of it. So that piece will sit into there. And now we're going to pop in this page. And after the live, well, I might do it now. So let's just give this a good burnish down where I folded that up. Yeah, so that's going to sit in there. That's going to sit in there. So I need to show you how to tackle that envelope. So I've got a pocket here and I've got a nasty, you know, an upside down text. So in the paper collection, there are lots and lots of little icons. So I can deal with that upside down text by just popping some of the fussy cut images from the back of the paper pad onto there. And I can cut a tag. I can see one in the collection. There we are. Or I could cut a strip of paper and that can sit into there. I'm going to leave those pages blank. Okay. But I've got an envelope, and that envelope, quite frankly, is ugly. Whatever way we want to cut it, that envelope is ugly. So we're going to tackle said ugly envelope with a bit of blue stenciling. We'll cut that over. Now then, if that is going to go into there like that, like that, okay, we'll just make sure we know which way we're putting it in. So we've got some of that. Let's just add the same. So all I'm doing is linking everything together, and I can see that I've got masses of gubbins every which way, and I'll show you later on how I'm going to tackle that, because clearly that envelope is not the same size as the whole piece, and I'm picking up the words basically here. Okay, so that can go over there. So that's now starting to be decorated. Okay, so let me have a little look in my bag of fussy cut elements and see what I've got, and let's build up. Those are the ones I've chosen for the cover. So I've got some nice pieces. of a, you know, that I can start to add into here. So let me think. I've got those, and I've got her, and I've got, yeah, Life Needs More Art. So these are all pieces that have been cut from the paper collection. So I'm going to use that and that, I think. Or am I going to just be simple and pop that onto there with the girl sitting on the top of there, and that and that. And I'm thinking, actually, because I'm preferring that as a collection. So that we pop that. Hello, Bev. Welcome, Madonna. Hello, Julie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So these are two-sided pieces, so that's always helpful. You don't need, they don't come out, you don't require you to have a special pad of paper or anything else. So that can go onto there. These is just cut from the word sheet. There's, you know, so there's lots and lots of words. Life Needs More Art can sit into there. Let's just pop it across there. I don't necessarily want to add an awful lot more to there, but I think that will work just by popping that little piece onto there. And there's lots of florals in this collection. So if I want to, yeah, I can pull some floral elements out and maybe add that into there. So I'm just building up a composition till I'm happy with how it looks, and all of my pieces are layered together. So let's just come back to this book as we're putting this page together. Okay, so that is going to sit in my book like that now. And obviously this isn't very attractive as it is, so let's tackle what we're going to do here. So we might pop that into there, and then we can pop that little journaling tag into there. That will work quite nicely, I think. Yes, or I think we might just leave, and we've got more words, so that will all work. And then I've got that little pocket that is still completely usable. So let's just time that so that the words are up the correct way. Let's just pop that onto there. I could add some more stamping if I want to. That's equally fine, because there's lots and lots of bits here. Don't particularly want butterfly. We've got some little stamp tickets, but we might just add the little bookcase and the stamps just down there. So let me just pop that into there, and then we can add a little word as well, because as we all know, I rather like words. There we are. Let's pop that into there. So that is that envelope, that part of the envelope. Dream big, start small. That seems to be a nice set of words. So let's just pop that into there. Okie dokie. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pop that one onto there. And I've got the little pocket that way. So I'm just going to swap this round. So I've got the pockets round the opposite way round. Okay, and I'm going to give that a good burnish. Put it down. And I've got pockets here that I can tuck things into, whichever way I want to. So we might not have any nice big pieces on from there, but I think if we turn this over, we'll have ones from the 12 by 12 paper collection. Maybe not, maybe we've reused them all. So, but I can choose Joy into there. And I know I've got another tuck spot there. Okay. How did I miss that? Well, that wasn't clever, was it? Yeah, we are. So let's just add some of this. So we've got another rub on here. Let me just take this, and I think we might just pop that part on, part off, because we've got consistency through here. So let's just pop that onto there. It doesn't matter that I'm not using the whole piece. There we are. That can go over there. There we are. Let's just take those bits that are left over. We'll add them into there, because why not? Okie dokie. That's going on there. That's going on there. We need to fill that. And we're beginning to run out of bits of rub-on. But hey ho, that's fine. Let's just take this. And I don't want the word. There is a set of words here. I'm just going to chop those off so I can keep those safe and use those on another project. And I don't want the whole piece. So I'm just going to chop that quite merrily there. And add that onto the edge of there. There we are. She says, pop that over there, pop that over there. So that's going in the centre, that's going in the centre, that's going centred, that's centred, that's centred. There we are. Okie dokie. So where did I put that large piece that I've just taken off there? Because who is a Wally? You know, you take a big piece off and you put it somewhere safe. There we are. We've popped it under the ink. I still don't know that I want all of that there. So by chopping these up into pieces, I can add bits as I want to. It means that your pack of rub-ons, which are, let's face it, they're not expensive, but they're certainly not the cheapest things in the world, and they're an absolute consumable. There we are. So that can go over there. Now that can go in there. So now I've got this messy piece here from my other half of the end of my envelope. And so in the 12 by 12 pages, we have one of these. So let us just add some glue onto there. We're going to add that onto there, making sure I don't upset the fold mechanism. I've now got a mucky, ugly piece here, but that's absolutely fine because I can now add a little collage of different pieces together from this collection. And that will start to cover this up. There we are. There we are. Let's just pop that in. Yeah, we'll stick that under there. That can tuck under there. So I'm linking all of these pieces together. And then let's just maybe see what we've got. Do I like the bird? Don't like the bird sitting up there, but I do like the bird sitting on there. And this is how when you look at your paper collection, you can then just use every last little bit that you've got there. Okie dokie. And we don't need another word because we've got explore. Well, it just sometimes you just have to do it. Right, I know we dropped that. We don't need the stamps out. Let's pop those out of harm's way on the mess of the floor. There we are. Let's just pop that all together. Pop that together. Pop that. Right. So we've got pockets, we've got tuck slots, we've used and I can put more pieces into those quite happily. There we are. So there we are. Let's just take those. They've all got exactly the same amount of stuff in them. They're all made in exactly the same way. They are from the same collection as the paper, Diane. Absolutely. It really is nice to be able to have everything all goes together. When you stack stuff inside them, you're never going to have them all even, and that's fine. So let's just pop that out of the way. Before we have a mess, let's get rid of that ink, because otherwise we will have ink where we don't want it. They can go up there. And let's just have a little clear down of the mess that we have on the desk. Not that you can actually see the mess, and the heavens definitely have started. I can hear the rain, so let me just move that around. So, so let me just gently, this is still a bit soggy. I'm going to give it a little bit of a heat to dry that. It's Secret Diary, Caroline. Give this a little bit of a dry. If I try and fold this now, it's not complete randomness I am. Because what I've done is I've worked with the same paper collection, and the stamps come from the same collection, and the stencils come, I think, from the same collection. Although the leaves might come from Garden House. So this way, I've got all of my pieces that all coordinate, so all of the colours work together. So although it might appear that I'm using stuff at random, the reality of life is that it's not quite as random as you might seem. So I'm just going to pop that into there, and I can rub that in. So that's then set. There we are. Okay. So let's see if this is dry. Not quite. I do need to get that dry. I'm sorry, ladies, if we're going on a bit, but I definitely do need. So you can get out a needle and some wax thread if you so choose, and you can stick those signatures together with a simple pamphlet stitch. Liz shows that frequently on her lives, but you can equally cheat. So we're going to cheat, because why not? It's raining now here, Sarah. I need this dry, otherwise I'm going to have stained papers. There we are. That will do. It's not completely dry, but it will do. So now we're going to tie these in. Nothing could be so simple as this, and you watch it, it'll all go wrong. So I need a piece on the outside, and I can take my signature, find the center of it. Is that the center of it? Yep. Okay. So that is going to go round there, in there. That is going to come up the back. Now you know why I cut such a big piece of it. Yeah. And because I'm intending tying these in to here, I could add more pieces. I could add more pages. I can truly customize this at any point I want. I can take papers out. I can put more in. Sometimes you prefer a cheap binding. Well, sometimes you just have to. I just thought the idea of me getting a needle and pop thread out partway through this was not going to happen. There we are. And find the centre of here. Stick that into there. Pop that round there. Pop that round there. So now I have my pages all in there. I want that into there. That into there. I now know I've got about 25 tons more ribbon than I need, and that is equally fine. I'm going to be wasteful. Where's those fabric scissors? There we are. But that's okay. So I'm just now going to take these. I'm going to make sure that they are all butted up tightly into place. There we are. So that's going to go there, that's going to go there, that's going there, that's going to go there, that's coming up there, that's coming into there. So let's just put that up nice and tight. Now, this is the only fiddly bit of this, is making sure that your pages are up tight. And now I can quite happily catch these into place and pull these in. Okay. And I'm going to tuck that underneath one way and underneath the other way. Right, let's pull that up. And if I wanted, I could have just left these really, really long and use that for closing. So now I can knot that with my pages in place. Give that a little bit of a bow, big or as little as you want. Yeah, trim those down. So I now have my book with its binding, sheets binding, lots of signatures. That wasn't a set that I had, and I had a set of pieces. There we are. So, because the eagle-eyed around you will have known that I dyed lace ribbon and gauze. So I'm just going to take some of my gauze, which is still a bit wet, but that's okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Very definitely outrageously optimistic. This is still a bit wet, but hey ho. So let's just, so this is the gauze that I dyed. I just want it a bit more raggy. There we are. That was a bit more raggy, isn't it? That's definitely a bit more raggy. There we are. You have as much or as little as you want. So we're going to pop that. I think we might pop it over there. So these are ephemera from the paper collection. So let us, might be asking a little bit of a challenge because that's still a bit wet. Yeah, absolutely. So this is from the ephemera that goes with the collection. So that can sit onto there quite happily. Oh. We're going to pop. So we'll lift that up a little bit more. And that's too big. So let's get rid of that and pop her there. So she's sitting on the side of there. So let's just lift that up a little bit more and then pop that there. So the best laid plans don't always work, do they? Yeah, because I sort of prep that. So she's going to sit onto there. And because these are ephemera, they're that bit more robust than if it was just on a card cut from the collection. So let's just add a little ticket underneath there, poking its way out. I think we're going to add a little stamp underneath there. So just because the orange is a bit jarry, but I want a little bit of it added interest into there. I'm going to deliberately tear that a little bit more. There we are. I don't know that I want that there. We've got all sorts of bits that we may not end up putting on here, but that's also fine. Let's just pop that over onto there. Do I want the birdie there? The birdie's obviously not meant to be sitting on there, is it? You know, that's for surely sure. But let's just see. We've got some floral. So let's just pop a little bit of a floral there. And I think we might pop the butterfly there. And I'm not going to pop did I put my... Don't do that, woman. So there we are. I haven't put my glue gun on, ladies. So bear with, because I'm just going to grab some glue gel, because I normally would use some heavy body gel, but there we are. Let's just pop that onto there. I'm not going to use that. We'll grab the heavy body gel. It's conveniently not very far away, but then I won't be able to move this until it's then properly dried. We know we won't be able to, but that's also just fine. There we are. Let's just take that. So we can pop a big glob of that onto there. We can shorten that. Pop that into there. That's looking quite pretty. We might not use the lace, but we can now make ourselves a nice shabby bow. Thank you. Let's just make a little bow. Let's just pull that a little bit shorter than it actually is. There we are. Let's tie it and then tighten it. Let's just take a piece of that. And we will need fabric scissors for that. Thank you. Now, the $64,000 obvious question, ladies, is when I'm doing my Pentart lives, would you like a few more things like this? Because that's clearly going to be too big, but I don't like where I've made a mess there. So let's just add that butterfly there. Do we want a bit more of a floral? No, we're going to have it relatively pared back. I think we will put that onto there though, and that might mean that I can then sit my bird looking at the lady, and that will then work for my brain. There we are. So the bird is now tucked over there looking at her. So let me just give this a little bit of a shape. I've got two birds. Fill that up with a bit of heavy body gel. There we are. And now the birdie is looking at the lady. There we are. And if I want, I could put another birdie in over there. But I don't think birds come out of people's heads, so we're not going to. So, having lost that, I might just, I don't know. Yeah, I think we're going to stick that underneath there. Yes. Good. Right. So we'll pop that into there. We're going to let that dry. We'll let that dry. We're going to leave out the lace. We're going to have another bit of a snip there. Pop that under there. Leave it all a bit more shabby, poking out from there. And that, ladies, is our completed piece. So as I say, walkie-talkie. So providing I'm using Pentart mediums and Stamperia papers, we can do some more lives quite happily using the journals. Won't be everyone. I've got some other plans for next week. As far as I'm aware, I'm continuing with my regular lives. Don't do that, woman. I've just got a little rub on here. You see, and I then never stop playing, because why would you stop playing? Why would you stop playing? There we are. That's going to sit neatly into there. Is that little butterfly? Let's hope it sticks on the fabric, because I've never tried it on the fabric before. Hey, there we are. And it does stick onto the fabric quite nicely. There we are. So hopefully we've had a good time we've learnt about things. We've got all colour coordinated products because they're all been using the same colours that we started out with, a little bit of white. Let's just move that, deal with that sludgy bit. And we've got a journal with lots of spaces for tuck spots and adding extra pieces in and out of. And now, so for now, that is all. I will at some stage manage to get this photographed. It won't be tonight for obvious reasons. But I hope that that's been really enjoyable and you've learned something, and hopefully I've inspired you to have a go. Ta-ta for now, and I shall see you probably next Tuesday and possibly next Sunday. Bye.